Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to Tap In with Michelle Leeds. Wow, what an extraordinary time on our planet. And we have been going through one of the most, not going to say challenging times, but a time on the planet where we're actually made to see what's going on. And no matter what, we have to deal with what's coming up for us. And it could be a redirection. It could be contact with source, the invisible people's spirit. It could be talking to Joy here. It could be having a conversation, but we're not just talking about angel numbers anymore. We're diving in deeper and deeper as this collective rises. So with me today, and excuse the pronunciation, but that's okay, I have Joy Sahasrara with me today talking about modern psychic, magic, priestess, and soul embodiment. But everybody that's been coming on knows that I do swear I have a bit of a waver and we do go off tangents and we do go through the rabbit hole. Some days are going to be great, some days are going to be high vibing, some days are going to be up and down, depending on what we're going through at this present moment. So with Joy, beautiful. Thank you for coming on to Tap In with Michelle Lee, and I can't wait to hear so much about you. So Joy believes her life is a miracle prayer. Her voice is a message of love, and an immeasurable power is available to all through true embodiment of soul light within. Joy has walked through remarkable and mysterious journey of divine unity, alchemy, and inner liberation. She now teaches others worldwide. And welcome, Joy. Welcome, welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Let's dive straight into it with the first question that I have for you. And if you would describe your life as a miracle prayer, what moment made you first believe that about your own story?
So many moments. I'm not sure which was the first one, but I think the moments when I really started to see change in my own inner healing, when I started to feel deep flow of love energy coming into my heart, or I started to feel an inner sense of actual true peace, like the quality of the energy, and I'm feeling peace or I'm feeling love. For me, it was like one of the first times, like those experiences, because of the trauma that I had when I was younger. And then I came out of that and I was dealing with a lot of PTSD and stuff like that. And so every day was really difficult. And what helped me and what became miracles in my life was my connection with spirit, because that's what I ended up having to surrender to, something larger than me, in order to truly heal. And I would have moments where, like one moment that I would say that miracle prayer of my life felt really embodied and true and real for me and tangible for me, was when I was like in my room on my knees, like giving up one day when I was 20 something, and I was just really overwhelmed with PTSD and dissociative symptoms and stuff from trauma. And I was on my knees in my room, like, this, what I'm doing, like the techniques and stuff and therapy was helping. That was the only thing that was helping, and other things were not really working. All these inner child techniques and spiritual things that I was trying to do, but a lot of mental things. And I was like, I just give up. This isn't what I'm doing, and this me is not working. And I just prayed to the universe or God or spirit or just anything and everything in that moment. I don't know what to do. I give up. Please help me, sort of thing. And I just sat there and waited. And then this like love energy started to come into my heart, center into my chest by itself. I wasn't trying and I wasn't doing anything. And I was like, oh my gosh, something's happening. What is this? And then I like focused on it more because it was happening. And then I noticed that my focus made it grow. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I'm just going to keep doing this. And then these waves of love started coming in. And then that's a day I had a visit from an angel as well. The message that she had for me was, if you follow this path, you will heal. And so that's one example of my life becoming a miracle, because I was like, honestly, I was really suicidal at that point. I was really giving up, and spirit intervened. And that moment in my 20 somethings was when I started a huge process of diving into that love and listening to spirit and only my inner voice and that angel voice and everything that started to flow from there, because I got out of the way enough in my surrender. And then more and more miracles started to happen. I would call miracles of spiritual energies shifting me and rewriting me. So to me, to go from where I was to even touching that love, let alone becoming liberated and peaceful the way I am now because of that journey, it is a miracle. My life is a living prayer. I also believe that about everyone's life. Everyone's life is a living prayer. Mine feels particularly miraculous at times.
For the listeners that are listening to this today, and with what's going on the planet at the moment, and we're getting divided. There's a divinity which is fear-based, and for those that are wanting to not grow, that they have the choice that they can stay there. But for those that are listening to this, Joy, now, and just going, oh my gosh, I relate to you, Joy. I resonate. What would you say to people to help them move out of the fear behind it so they can become into the version of who they're meant to be or who they're coming into? What would you say?
I think when we truly, it's true, when we narrow it down into what is going on, anything and everything in any moment in this incarnation that you're experiencing is a choice between fear or love, any thought that you're having, any choice that you're making. And that's the whole system, right? So I would say basically it's a larger journey and an individual journey if I was to help each person with that. But ultimately, reclaiming our sovereignty and reclaiming a sense of unity within ourselves, which is our unity that we're looking for. Yes, we want to create it with each other, but we can't create that with each other or collectively on the planet if I don't have that inside of myself in union with my divine essence or my soul or love, whatever you want to call that, or God. And God force, that's my word for it. When I say God for everyone, I'm not talking religious. I'm talking this universal love that is a loving conscious awareness as well. That's what we're all trying to come home to. So any moment that you can choose love and just looking at your thoughts, looking at your beliefs. What is my motivation behind the choice I'm making today, behind this decision? Is it love or is there fear there? And this is, if you follow that pathway, just to give one tool that's quite simple and useful, but very powerful, that is going to liberate you, because the whole game of division, we can only be divided if we're choosing the fear. And there's always these unconscious parts of us that are moving from that. And that's our whole journey, is to become free from that. And the intention of division that is being put upon our planet, those people who are doing that, they are rooted in fear and they do not understand the power of love. And it sounds so, I know it sounds a bit trite and a bit to be like, we just need love. But and from my direct experience in my life and in my psychic experiences and just what I see on the planet, when you touch love, these fear energies that want us or you divided, they are so weak. They are so weak when you stand in love, when you choose love or when you choose freedom instead of fear. So any moment that you can do that, you're in power. And this is a pathway to unity.
I think that's a beautiful message as well. And I think the more that people like us get together, or collaboration from aligned souls and people coming from a state of love. People used to call it woo-woo, but it's actually, I think it's more of an understanding of what we're here to do on this planet. And I think by coming back into ourselves, as you were saying, and the message is clear, it's about love and love only. We need to love ourselves. We need to choose to love ourselves. We need to choose everybody around us and love them with acceptance. And I think too, by putting nothing and put nothing on it, like the no judgment. We all have opinions, and I understand that, but it's more coming into a compassionate side and ethical side where we can just accept each other for who we are.
And when I accept myself and all the darkest and the worst parts of me, that's when I become capable of doing that sort of work and really accepting other people as well. And I feel like that is a big part of the division, is that we don't know how to fully love ourselves, so then it's difficult to fully love other people, which is also an act of self-forgiveness as well. Forgiveness is just a return to unconditional love. And if we want to remove this darkness or disunity and these forces of division on our planet, we have to get really honest, and we have to be like, where am I not being in a forgiveness? And also knowing that forgiveness or that unconditional love, like you said, acceptance, is all the sort of the same thing. It can't be forced as well. Forgiveness is the natural state that your soul is in when I've liberated my pain and my hurt and my fear and my anger from the way that someone or something has harmed me collectively or individually. And so that's what I mean about just making a little nuance for people, that like when we say to love everyone or to forgive everyone, we're not saying don't have boundaries and just click your fingers and love everybody, because there are some people in our spiritual communities that promote that. And Michelle and I are not saying that, because that's useless, right? It's actually, let me take the journey to get to the point and do the deep inner work to get to a really embodied point where I can truly say, I love and accept people. And acceptance doesn't mean we accept that darkness on our planet. It will be removed. That division will dissolve. The actions that we take, we want them to come from our power, which is love.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? That's beautiful. I think that's a beautiful thing to say. And I think the more that collective souls collect together, take that radical responsibility, like it's hard, it's dark, it's fucking deep, man. When you look at the reality and the truth of it, it is. I'm going to use the word. I, when I'm going through my stuff, it's more of an energetically challenging to see what it is that's coming up for me, what's triggering me, why is this being presented to me right now, and what's the lesson in. But also coming back to source, spirit, we've been asking for this for such a long time. For us taking the responsibility and going, okay, we're going to sit in this space and coming back into your embodiment, what you do, Joy, it's about feeling. And feminine magic, and means something different to everybody, which I can't wait to hear a little bit about this, because I love this stuff. What actually does it look like for you on a day-to-day life? What does it feel? What's the journey like? Is it up and down? People say magic and people go, oh my gosh, it spells, but really it's not. Yeah.
I do love a spell sometimes.
I was looking at the notes yesterday or this morning, and I'm going, oh my gosh, I'm just going to talk about magic. Unless it's with spells, it's got a karmic reaction. We understand that for people when it comes to magic, but I thought, should I talk about this topic? And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to talk about it and just see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Magic is one of those words, obviously does mean different things to different people, and that's totally fine. So for me, when I use the word magic, you could also interchange with the word alchemy, interchange with healing even. So when I say magic, I'm thinking alchemically, and I'm thinking about how we can change water to wine. When I heal, I change my grief to joy. I change sadness to happiness through the inner work of some kind of embodiment practice, And these are you ask, what's it truly like? It is a lot of feeling. It's let me sit and be with any lower vibrations that are in my system, lower feelings, triggers, basically. Let me sit and be with my triggers. Let me bring the awareness and the presence of my soul light, which is presence and awareness itself, or higher self. Let me bring that into this feeling. Let me love this part of myself. This is an example of one form of process. Let me love that part of myself And then for me, when I say magic, it's really that act of it changing from water to wine. But also, when I say magic, I'm talking about also my processes involve bringing in my own magic. So calling on my higher self, calling on my spirit guides, calling on my helpers and my angels around me who, let's say I'm working with a part of me that's in pain. I have processes where I teach people to step out of the way so that spirit can work through you, so that spirit can rewrite you. So one of my processes is about allowing divine will to come in. So if I can move my control out of the way enough and I'm fully surrendered into presence with a sensation, do you know, like your spirit, and which includes your spirit team, it has a higher intelligence to it. And I don't need to bring in like a mental process, right? If I've got my psychic things open enough, which is a practice, but if I've got them open enough, I can get out of the way. And like, for example, my angel will come in and she'll breathe like a beautiful pink flower energy over this part that's in pain. And then I'll feel like a shift in the emotion. And maybe I'll feel like a wave of energy go over here. And then hear my guides be like, okay, now breathe slowly. And then I'll get like a vision from a past life that this connected to. And then I'll be like, oh, that's what I'm integrating. And then like maybe the dragons come and they're like, let us give you this energy of like protection that this part of you needs. And this is all happening simultaneously. But when I say like magic and I teach magic, I teach people the path of alchemy, which is what I call this capacity to use only your own energy, your own consciousness to create real change inside of yourself with the help that's always available to you. I don't have to open to my spirit team and stuff. I can use my own energy, but that's always there for us. And yeah, for me, magic includes like using my multidimensional awareness that we all have, which is my psychic capacities as well. And men and women all have this. And sometimes on the note of spells, it's working with these pieces. It's using maybe tools sometimes if you want to. I actually don't do it that often, but it makes me feel very cool and witchy when you burn something, or you got your crystals and you put a prayer over something you've written down and then you tear it up, or whatever your ritual is, that's a spell, but it's just a way to amplify what you're already doing within you. And yeah, so my day-to-day every day is like me sitting down and working with these triggers or parts of myself and getting into alignment for the day. I have a spiritual practice where I have a really strong, tangible relationship with spirit. It's not like an airy-fairy thing. I walk between the worlds. I'm always listening to where I go to forests and stuff, and I'll turn down a road I don't know because spirit told me to, and I don't know where I'm going. That's a huge part of my magic as well, has been earth magic as well, which is a whole thing that's happened for the last 2 years to me, being told to go to waterfalls to heal and all these different things. But magic is basically, yeah, let's change what we've got going on into the higher essence that you truly are.
I love that. Thank you. And for those that are listening, magic is within us.
Yeah.
We have magic within us. You know, whether you go to Joy for what she does to bring the magic into you, for you to bring up and express into yourself, or you do burn some incense, or you say a little prayer, but whatever it is, if it lights you up and you feel good from that, that's your magic. Is your magic, yeah? Yeah. So have you seen fairies and the gnomes along your travels? Aren't they beautiful?
I can't say that I've seen gnomes or had much of a connection with gnomes. I definitely see fairies. They're the number one thing that I'll see clairvoyantly with my physical eyes. I'll see a pinpoint of light that's just, hello. Sometimes they'll go like this and then they just are gone. And I'm like, oh, come back. I'm like, hello. I love when they show themselves to me. I love magic. I love fairies. It makes me very happy to talk about even.
But too. I just love it.
Yeah.
Let me feel into it. Embodiment. So for people that are going through this, Joy, and for us sharing our messages and for you to spread your love and your magic. Have you got any messages for people or for the collective or for somebody that might be just listening to this that's in a whole state and needing maybe direction, or what is it that you do that you can, people wanting to connect with you or...
So I would first say, if you're in a state like you're going through things, the first thing I think is safety. Like, how can you make your nervous system or your body feel a little bit safer in this moment? That could be like giving yourself a hug. That could be going for a walk, talking to a friend, anything like that. That's what I want to say to that person going through your state right now. And also that we've all been there. So at the moment, I work with women to train in your psychic capacities, which includes the capacity to heal. So it's the example I gave earlier is what we would be working through and working on. At Temple Gold Coast, I'm also teaching people how to do this path of alchemy from the very fundamentals. So talking about the real energetic metaphysics that happen inside of the body when we start to do this healing or alchemy, which is when we're actually bringing the soul light back into full flow into my system. And there are very real alchemical processes that are happening in the heart space and also even in the system. And I know all this stuff because it happened to me and I had to learn what is happening to me. And for people going through it right now, I would say go to community where you feel supported. It's a little hard to say if it's a unique situation for every individual, but what I want to say is that the heart is always the starting point. That's the number one thing as well. Even literally just making a practice to sit in your heart energy every single day, even if you've got emotions going on or whatever, that's okay, because the heart is it's the most amazing point of our being, because alchemically or metaphysically, if we talk about energetic physiology, let's say, in the heart center, this is where the soul light perfuses through, and through just sitting in that vibration of your heart, you send the message vibrationally to the rest of your system to start to get into coherence and vibrational matching with that. And so you are healing yourself without making it complicated, is what I'm saying. And that's also why it's the basic starting point as well, is can you sit in your heart, allowing any emotions that come up, because the heart's a healer. So it may actually activate or bring up emotions for you. And just breathing into your heart still, you're actually reteaching those lower vibrations. Hey, this is the vibration that you want to actually be in, and you're healing yourself. And it's amazing because then from there, if you're in your heart energy, your guides, then your vibration's high enough, your guides can maybe start talk to you or tap on your clairs and your psychic gifts. And we just expand from our heart center.
Good, Joy. You talk about spirit. Do you have there's a team that works with you on a database, or do you have different ones that come in at different times?
So this is the same for everybody as well. You have your higher self or your own soul essence, and then you have a smaller group of primary spirit guides, a smaller group of primary angels as well. It varies, but let's say, just for clarity, 4 to 8 or something like that.
Yeah.
Some people have 12, you could be more. But you have these beings with you. And then you have, even some people have a couple of main ascended master beings like Mary Magdalene or Yahweh Jesus or Krishna or Buddha or any of these ascended master people. And then you have spirit animal guides as well. We usually have a primary or 2 primary of them and then more. So all these beings are always working with me. Those are like the primary ones that are always there. Who I talk to or who comes in every day can vary with what I'm needing help with, because all of them have a unique sort of vibrational thing that they represent and can be helpful with. I also have a really strong connection with God. Again, not the religious God, but God Father, God Mother, which has aspects of both. And I spend a lot of time sitting in my energy, just sitting with God, because that is the love we're trying to come home to, and that can rewrite you. And I've had amazing things happen with that. But throughout my lifetime also, like, for example, when I was going through a lot of the sexual trauma healing, and therefore also a lot of feminine initiations and healing, like Kali Goddess was coming to me every day. Mary Magdalene, I was talking with her a lot more. The right team will come to you in response to what you're vibrating with.
Lovely.
Yeah.
I think that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Do we want to go into a little bit of your background, or do you want to just keep talking about spirit and messages? And this is all about you today, my darling. What would you like? What would you like?
I can talk a little bit about my background. I think it's useful for people to hear, to understand. The reason that I talk about my story is not because it's comfortable or actually I didn't want to. Spirit told me to, and I was very resistant. But the reason that I believe when I said my life is a prayer and stuff, the reason that I believe I was given even that life and that story is because it's living evidence in a way of the importance of your connection with your spirit and everything else that I've been talking about today. As a speaker, one of the things that I often speak about, or I speak about spirituality, psychic things, but also one of the things that I can speak about is my trauma history, which was I was born into a satanic cult, and when I was 18 or so, I escaped, or I fought enough that I was discarded from the cult is the word that they would use. And I'll say here that for some people that can be uncomfortable. We can want to turn away from that darkness in the world, or it can feel like a conspiracy theory and things like this. What I always say to people is that you have to think about it like it's organized crime mixed with really weird beliefs, basically. And I talk about it as well because you have to look at the darkness for us collectively to do something about it. And in my 20s and things like that, it was like a haze of being PTSD ridden and drinking and confused. 26 or something like that, I fully disconnected from everything and everyone, my old life, my family and stuff, for my safety. I also had what would have looked like a nervous breakdown because my dissociative symptoms and PTSD symptoms, which were a result of extreme trauma, they came up all at once because I was doing healing work and I started to go inwards. My brain was like, woo, like Pandora's box opened. Then I spent the next 5 years healing myself, and that was my walk with spirit as well. Eventually I found a psychologist that specialized and was very helpful, but my journey and the reason that I was able to become a whole and full person from such extreme and brutal and very dark things and violence was because I went inwards into my soul. That moment I started this interview with and I was talking about how I was just giving up, that's because the PTSD was like so bad, and it pushed me into my only choice was to go into my heart or to give up out of the way for divine will or divine intervention to happen. And that changed the trajectory of my life forever. And that means that as far as my story and who I am now and everything, that means that I deeply understand the process of embodiment, of going from dissociation to really actually being able to develop that soul light in your body to become an example and a prayer and a miracle of what it means to be fully healed. Not to say that I don't get triggers, but at this point in my life, I just get triggers like everyone else does to a more normal degree, let's say. And my ability to free myself I was like semi-homeless at one point. I was just following my intuition a lot of the time, and I didn't have anyone or anything. I only had me and spirit. And spirit was the one that told me I needed to leave. And they said to me, you can't be who you came here to be if you stay. I've dealt with the deepest, like, grief and trauma, and anyone who's done therapy or somatic processing work, you know that you have to sit there and feel every single trauma or the feelings that you didn't feel in the past. They sit there in our body as triggers until we're willing to fully surrender and feel them and go and get our inner child and all those things. And I did over 1,000 hours easily of therapy and my own alchemical work. And my prayer and my joy as well is that people can hear that and they can be like, oh my gosh, that darkness that thinks it can take over our fucking planet, these satanic people, they're within everything. They think they can own people. They think they can own a child. And you can feel my ferocity right now because I needed that energy to get out. And I was like, I won't be controlled. And it worked. And I've been psychically attacked. I've been like threatened when I was going to speak and stuff like that. But I keep choosing love and I keep being protected because God is with me, because I'm close to spirit. And when you walk really close with your spirit, you're in your full power. You are actually in your full power. If we just are in our human self, we're making our life so much harder than it needs to be. You've got all this support here. You're a magical being. If I didn't own those parts of me, I wouldn't be able to free myself. And that's the work I do now, is that we all remember that sovereignty exists within you and it's untouchable. And even though you can feel separated from it and all of that, it's always there. And these people who create the division that you mentioned and stuff, they want to treat us like we don't have that power and our love is just this weak thing and stuff like that. But look at this. It's like, fuck you, fuckers. And like, I was like, you have to have that energy. It's like, you cannot stop me. And I, even on this podcast, like, to be honest, I could get another threat tomorrow and I'm just going to keep doing it. Because this is more important.
I'd love to have you on.
Yeah.
I'd love to have you on more and to talk about this deep self-trust.
Yeah.
Trust, because you trusted yourself in that moment. Not only were you guided, but you trusted yourself.
Yes, yeah.
Into the unknown. Out of a situation that you were in, you chose to trust yourself to walk away from it. And that's so much courage and guts.
Yeah.
Whatever wording you want to call it. And I just want to honour that for you and go celebrating you. And I'd love to hear more about your journey and the guides that you work with and the messages that you need to share. I'm going to put everything in the transcript down below, and I'm going to put Joy's links and contacts and how you can connect with Joy. How about that?
Right.
Is there anything else you'd love to share before we jump off and say goodbye?
Let's see what Spirit or God wants to say. So what I hear from Spirit is this message. They're saying, truth is the number one key to freedom, to sovereignty, to alchemy or alchemical power. And within that, what I hear them pointing to, and the further message with that is that, you know what I was saying earlier about choosing love over fear and the simplification of what we're doing here together on this planet. Whenever you can just pick truth and be in the embodiment of your truth, that's when you are free. That's when you are like, and if you're free and in truth, then you're radiating your love and you're living from your soul. And truth includes the human aspect. I'm not talking about higher truths and being love and light. We're talking about being in your realness. Your authenticity and your truth is the pathway to freeing every aspect of you, and also knowing that when you do that, you are freeing other people. That's how we free each other.
Blessings, Joy. It's been an honour to have you on today. I appreciate your energy and your love, and I just see a shower of light. Meeting you for the first time a few months ago, and all I saw was light. You're an activation of light. Thank you for the listeners. If you want to press the subscribe button, or you can reach out to Joy, all the notes will be here. But yeah, tap in with Michelle, and hopefully we'll have you on soon, sometime over the next few months. But thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful day, and we'll talk soon. And thank you, Joy.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Whew. How was that, babe? How was that?
We did it.